I used to believe that independence was the goal. That aging gracefully meant doing everything on your own, proving that you didn't need anyone. But the truth, that kind of solitude can slowly become a trap, especially as we grow older. Today, I want to tell you why community isn't just a nice to have, it's a life-saving force. I'll walk you through what happens when we're cut off from others, and the quiet, powerful shift that can change everything. And I promise, by the end of this story, you'll see community in a completely new light, whether you've built one already, or feel like you're starting from zero. Let's start with something simple. Think back to the last time someone checked in on you, just to ask how you're doing. Feels warm, doesn't it? Now imagine going for weeks, or months, without that kind of connection. No one dropping by. No spontaneous laughter. No sense that someone's looking out for you. That's the silent reality for millions of older adults. And medically, it's dangerous. Loneliness isn't just emotional pain. It's physical. According to the CDC, social isolation increases the risk of premature death from all causes, a risk that rivals smoking, obesity, and even high blood pressure. Harvard researchers found something even more startling. The strength of your relationships is a better predictor of your health than your genes, your wealth, or even your diet. So if we care about living well as we age, we have to talk about this. Let's walk through 5 ways you can gently, realistically, and meaningfully build community around yourself, starting exactly where you are. Not from scratch, not with some big social makeover, just with quiet courage and the right tools. Let's begin. The first path is one of the most overlooked. Reconnect with your family or your chosen family. Now, I get it. Not every family is a warm place. Sometimes, distance, emotional or physical, makes that feel impossible. But community doesn't have to mean relatives. It means people who feel like home. Maybe it's a neighbor who always waves. Or that old friend you used to share coffee with before life got busy. One woman I know, let's call her Helen, lost her husband 5 years ago. Her daughter lives 3 states away. At first, she didn't want to bother anyone. But after a bad fall in her kitchen, Helen realized something. Silence can be deadly. So she picked up the phone, reached out to her cousin she hadn't spoken to in years, and just said, "I miss having someone to talk to." That small act turned into Sunday calls. Then a visit. Now, they're planning a beach trip together this fall. The solution here is simple. Look through your contacts. Is there someone you miss, even just a little? Someone you used to laugh with? Don't overthink it. Just start with, "I was thinking of you today." That tiny spark might be all it takes to light something meaningful. Now, if family and old friends feel too far gone, don't worry. There's another place where connection grows quietly strong. Join a spiritual or faith-based community. No, this isn't about religion unless you want it to be. It's about shared rituals, familiar faces, and the kind of support that shows up without being asked. Many churches, temples, and spiritual centers offer more than services. They host lunch gatherings, cool trees, walking clubs, book readings. And often, they do something most places don't. They notice when you're not there. That kind of noticing, it matters. Take Joe, for example. He's 72, widowed, and had never been part of a church in his life. After retirement, he felt a heaviness he couldn't shake. His doctor suggested volunteering. He ended up at a Unitarian fellowship nearby, not for belief, but because they needed someone to help stack chairs after events. That small act, just showing up, turned into warm conversations. Eventually, he was invited to speak about his life as a retired firefighter. Now he's part of something bigger than himself. The risk of spiritual disconnection, especially in older age, is subtle. It's not just about belief, it's about not being seen. Faith communities, when they're the right fit, can be a steady heartbeat in the background of your life. And if organized religion isn't your path, look for meditation groups, storytelling circles, or groups centered on values you share. The point is ritual, familiarity, belonging. But let's not stop there. Even the most loving circle can feel far away if you're physically isolated. That brings us to something practical but powerful. Choose where you live with connection in mind. It's so easy to focus on square footage, views, or cost. But when you're over 60, the bigger question is, does your neighborhood make connection easier or harder? Let me explain. Mary, a retired schoolteacher, lived in a big house on a quiet cul-de-sac. Her kids had moved out. The neighbors were mostly young families. She often went days without a single real conversation. Then, after a knee replacement, she couldn't drive for 6 weeks. That isolation nearly broke her spirit. So she made a bold choice. Sold her house. Moved into a small apartment complex near a park, walking distance from a library and grocery store. Within a month, she'd met 3 other women her age. They now walk together every morning. What made the difference wasn't luck, it was location. She went from isolation by design to connection by proximity. The solution? Look around your home. Are there sidewalks, parks, coffee shops, senior centers? If moving isn't possible, what about shifting your habits? Spending more time in shared spaces? Asking your doctor if your local clinic hosts support groups? Community doesn't always come to your door. Sometimes, you have to move toward it. Let's pause here. You might be thinking, that all sounds nice, but I'm tired. I don't want to join something just for the sake of being social. I hear you. Which brings us to a gentler, more joyful way to build connection, through something you already love. And that's where we'll pick up next. In part 2, I'll share how your passions, yes, even the quiet ones, can become bridges to real friendship, even late in life. We'll also talk about what to do if you've tried before and been hurt or let down, and how to make sure these connections last. Because this isn't just about meeting people. It's about building a community that shows up when you need them most. Let's continue right where we left off. So where were we? Right, talking about how community doesn't always mean joining a big group or moving to a new place. Sometimes, the most natural path to connection starts with what you already love. Let me ask you something simple. What's something you enjoy so much, you lose track of time when you do it? Maybe it's painting, or reading mysteries. Maybe it's gardening, baking, playing cards, or even watching birds. Now here's the question that could change everything. Are you doing it alone? Because here's the thing, passions become lifelines when you share them. I once met a man named Robert, 76, who'd been carving wood for over 30 years. His garage was full of beautiful, hand-carved toys. But he'd never shown them to anyone outside his family. One day, his daughter convinced him to join a local craft fair. He hesitated. Said he didn't like crowds. Didn't want to sell anything. But he went. Just brought a small table and a few pieces. Within 2 hours, he had a crowd of people not just buying, but asking about his process, his tools, his stories. That afternoon, he was invited to teach a free class at the senior center. Now, every Tuesday, he teaches 3 other men how to carve. They don't just make toys. They make each other laugh. They listen when someone's had a hard week. It started with what he already loved. That's the key. The danger of keeping our hobbies private is that we miss their power to connect. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be good. You just have to be willing to share it. So look again at what lights you up and ask, is there a local group, a library event, a bulletin board somewhere that's calling your name? And if you're nervous, bring a friend. Or go just once, with no expectations. Sometimes, community begins with simply showing up. Now I want to talk about something that doesn't get said enough. What if you've tried before, and it didn't work out? What if you joined a group and felt out of place? Or opened up to someone and they disappeared? You wouldn't be alone. Rejection, or just feeling invisible, is hard at any age. But after 60, it can feel even heavier. Like maybe there's no point in trying again. But here's what I've learned, and what I hope you'll carry with you. Community isn't built in a day. It takes time. And just like love, or friendship, it sometimes comes from the most unexpected places. What matters most, is that you stay open. Open to the idea that people can surprise you. That connection can look different than what you expected. I knew a woman named Sandra lived alone, no kids, very independent. She joined a writing group at her local library, hoping to improve her poetry. At first, she didn't speak much, just listened. But one day, someone complimented a line she wrote. Just one sentence. And her whole face changed. Now, she meets that same group every Thursday. They've celebrated birthdays together, supported each other through grief. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened. Which leads us to the last, and maybe the most important piece of this puzzle. Sustaining connection takes commitment. It's easy to start something new. The hard part is sticking with it, especially when life gets messy. But that's also when we need others the most. Think about any strong friendship you've ever had. It likely grew from regular contact, checking in, following up, remembering small things. That's what builds trust. That's what creates the kind of community that doesn't just wave politely, but actually shows up when your roof leaks or your heart breaks. So here's a question for you, right now. Who in your life have you been meaning to reach out to? What group have you been curious about, but haven't visited yet? Is there a class, a meetup, a club, even an online forum that feels just a little bit interesting? This week, pick one. Just one. And take the smallest possible step toward it. Maybe it's calling that friend. Maybe it's signing up for something even if you feel shy. Don't overthink it. Don't aim for perfect. Just aim for presence. Because the truth is, you deserve to feel connected. You deserve to feel cared for. And the world needs the wisdom, humor, and stories that only you can bring. One day, someone else will walk into a room full of strangers, just like you did. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the reason they decide to stay. So let's not grow old alone. Let's grow old, together. And if this story spoke to you, if it reminded you of someone, or stirred something in you, share it. Leave a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you're doing this year to strengthen your own community? And while you're here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this with someone who might need it. Because sometimes, the smallest click can lead to the biggest change. You never know who needs to hear this until you send it. Thanks for listening. And remember, you're never too old to belong.